What's up, everyone? It's Amira Crawford, and as promised, we're going to go ahead and kick off our series on interviews all the way to the final offer, starting right now. So, for this week, again, we'll be focusing on the best practices that I would recommend as you go through the interview process to more or less guarantee that you'll be a final runner up, or at least put forward a very good effort. And that's still a really good practice for you to actually engage in the interview, because even if you don't get the role, it's still very good practice because you can always lean back on what have I done, what can I do better, and then make the next interview better. But let's say this is it. This is the email that you've been waiting for, the request for a phone screen. So for today, the couple tips that I'm going to go over is how the phone screen is actually really, really important, and how I have seen candidates botch this. And it's really, really important to make sure that you don't do that, because that's the first filter, really. So if you don't get past the phone screen, you're probably not going to be considered for the role. So you get the email from the recruiter saying they reviewed your application and they'd like to get to know you more, and they're asking for you to fill out some times. You respond to them very nice but professionally. Please don't use happy faces or emoticons. Like, that is not what you should be doing in your response. But let's say our recruiter's name is Sally, and Sally has reached out to me and said, Amira, we're really interested in you and want to get to know you a little bit more. I would write Sally back saying, hi Sally, it's great to hear from you. I'm really excited to get to learn more about the company and the opportunity as well. Blah, 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 here are my times. Some recruiters will have you fill out your best available time. Sometimes they'll provide you their availability to just see what we'll go through. Do whatever they ask, quite honestly. Don't make it difficult for them, because if you make it difficult for the recruiter to book time with you, it's very unlikely that you're going to move forward. And to be honest, I kind of understand that. We all have very limited time, so make sure that you're punctual with your replies as well. And that is my second tip. If you are applying to jobs and you are not checking your email and your LinkedIn messages every single day, then this is a problem. You may end up missing a recruitment offer. You may end up timing out on one, or maybe you were waiting for follow-up. And just like when you're being recruited and you don't hear from the recruiter after a few days, they're going to stop reaching out to you. Like, they have other candidates, and they likely will. They'll just take that as a sign of disinterest. So follow up and follow their process. The next thing that I would say is, once you get to the actual phone screen, you need to practice what are things that you would want to basically brand about yourself. So for me, I'm known for being really relentless and getting things done. So I'm going to focus on that, because let's say this position is a leadership position and I want to see that someone can come in and actually make sure that things are getting done, but at the same time provide new insights. So we're going through and I'm making sure that I'm using some of these keywords, and I'm using the words accomplishments when she's asking me about my accomplishments versus just the tasks that I do every single day. That's the other piece. How you describe yourself is how you're setting yourself up for your next role. And you shouldn't be applying to a position when you have 100% of the requirements. You should be applying right around 60, to be honest, because you don't really want to go into a role that you've already conquered. I mean, unless you do, that's something with your own personal goals as well, your work-life balance. I certainly understand that. But you don't want to go into a position when you know everything, because then how are you actually learning as well? You're offering a set of skills to a company, and they're offering you the opportunity to use those set of skills, but then also learn more as well. So the more you lean into learning and that you want to learn, that is also very good as well. So things that I would use personally for myself is going over accomplishments, not tasks, going over the words that many use to describe me. That is an assignment that I actually give some of my clients, is finding out how others would describe your working style and working with you and what that's like, because essentially they can kind of craft your own brand when you're struggling with it. And I know when I first started thinking about personal branding, I didn't like it. I thought it was silly, but I've kind of changed my tune on that just a little bit, but a little bit. You bring the brand, but you also need to bring the uniqueness behind it. So you have your phone screen, you go through it, she explains the next steps, that she's going to relay this information to the hiring manager, and that she'll be following up with you. You need to send a thank you note. I can't tell you the number of times that I have been hiring for a role where I have seen that they haven't thanked the recruiter, and the recruiter will let me know that. Even if there's someone who's a pretty good candidate and they move on to the second round, yeah, you can move on, but it's really something that stands out for recruiters because so many people just don't send the thank you letter. Or if they do send the big thank you letter, they send it a week later. You want to keep the recruiter on your side during this time. So thank them for their time, reiterate the things that you brought up in your interview with them. And if you have anything, this is a fun tip and it's helped me in the past. If you have anything that's not proprietary, that doesn't give away any information about your last roles, but demonstrates an example of your work, I would go ahead and say, as we discussed, I want to send you this example of my work to present to the hiring manager. I would love to have an additional conversation around that. Right there, you've given a little golden hint that there's more to come and that you have more to offer. You've thanked the recruiter for their time and you've provided value already. That recruiter is not going to feel like they just went through a exercise in having to interview someone that they felt was pointless, because you've actually followed up on those tips and tricks. So make sure you do that. We're going to stop now. We're about 6 minutes in, and I know there's a lot that we want to share. But that said, keep in mind that at the end of the day, your actions during the interview take up 50% of the perception around your abilities to actually perform in the role. So we're going to make sure that we are responding to the recruiter, using the form of communication they prefer, making sure we're following up within 24 hours after they've sent that message. If you get it and you respond in an hour, even better. But make sure you follow up in a reasonable amount of time. You're checking your LinkedIn and your messages for any other recruiters, and then you're setting up that call. You get on the call and you're describing words about yourself that actually show your brand. So I'm a go-getter. Words like relentless or get things done. Yeah, that is my brand. And then the other piece is we're making sure we are thanking the recruiter after the call about next steps, and then providing a piece or an example of your work to the recruiter to potentially give to the hiring manager. And that will make the biggest difference. So we'll tune in later this week. Thank you all for coming. And next time we're going to talk about going into the hiring manager interview. All right, bye y'all.